Hello everyone and welcome to a new casted game on AOE 4. Today we're gonna look at some 101 games on the ladder, so this is ranked games, and we are looking at a very good game, two very good players that are playing here. We have Starflark that is playing the French in the blue color, and LoueMT who is playing the Order of the Dragon as the purple player. Okay, we are on an interesting map, Himeyama. You know this map, you know that there is a little bit of fishing ships, fishing, yeah, just fishing here. You can do some ships to gather it, and that's what is doing Starflark. We have a very interesting matchup because the French is a very good civilization in order to put pressure on the opponent, and the Order of the Dragon has very special units that can defend pretty well, but I feel like the Order of the Dragon is pretty bad at the moment. Maybe I'm wrong, I'm not even sure, but I feel like it's a pretty tough civilization for pro players, of course, and we have here some very good players. Don't hesitate to go and watch them if they are streaming or on YouTube or whatever. I will put it in the description. I'm not sure. I should watch before. Maybe it could be interesting. Okay. So, what is very interesting with the Order of the Dragon is that you have very strong units, right? But what is not cool is that they cost a lot of resources. And what is very cool for the French player is that when you do a knight, for example, you force your opponent to do a spearman that costs not only 80 resources, this is a Norman spearman, but 160 resources. So the spearman is almost the same cost as the knight. Not the same cost, of course, because the knight is 240. But you force your opponent to do a spearman, and then you only have an archer that costs like 80 resources that can counter this spearman. And that's what is a little bit difficult, I found, with this civilization of the Order of the Dragon, especially with defending on very aggressive civilizations like French, for example. So I'm looking forward how LoueMT is gonna do to defend and to counter the attack of the French player. But here we have an interesting stuff that is happening on AOE 4. This is a new stuff on the French and also on Joan of Arc. What is very interesting is that now when you do the dock, you have plus 10 population space. So this is like if you do a house, like you have the dog that costs 150 wood, and it's as if it costs only 100 wood because, well, you have a house for free. So this is very interesting because now the French and Joan of Arc are very interesting on hybrid maps, not on full water maps, I feel like, but on hybrid maps, this is pretty strong. Why? Because, well, you have the population space, of course, and what is very interesting is that you have boats very soon in the game, and also you have the pressure on the map on the land. Why? Because you do the School of Cavalry. You have the School of Cavalry, you do a knight, and then your opponent has to do like 2 spearmen to counter your knight, so he has to do a barrack and 2 spearmen to counter that. So it costs a lot, like 150 wood, and two spearmen is 160, so it's equal to 310. And moreover, you can put the pressure also on the water, because you can do, for example, a galley. And if you do a galley, then your opponent has to do a warcog or a galley himself. So he has to do a lot of stuff while you only have to do just 2 units, because you already have all your landmarks, all your buildings, sorry. And your opponent has to build the barrack, has to build the 2 spearmen. It's very difficult the beginning of the game, and I feel like on hybrid maps this is a very strong to have those 2 options to attack on land and also on the water. So this is very cool. Here we are not very much on an hybrid map. We are more on a land map with only 2 or 3 fishing ships. with two or three sorry, fish. So yeah, this is cool to add a little bit of ships, but this is not that strong, I feel like, on this map. We will see if it helps Starflark, LoueMT, who already has his spearman, and that's what I don't really like to go on the dock on this map. Why? Because, well, your H2 is kind of delayed, and then your first night is a little bit late, while your opponent already has a defense. And that's what I was talking before. Like, if you do the knight and you do immediately an archer, then your opponent doesn't have anything to counter that. But here, because he has made the dock, his first aggression will come later, and if the aggression is later, then LoueMT already has a defense. And what is very interesting with LoueMT is that he takes then the advantage against his opponent because he had Pro Scout. Pro Scout allows him to go on the map and take all those deers. And what is very interesting versus French is that, well, you hardly can go on the map and take the resources with your villager because, well, there is knights, and the knights destroy everything, every villager that they see. But here, because Starflark made the dock, then LoueMT could also do this scouts and then take all those deers because there is nothing to counter that on the map. So I feel like the dock made LoueMT, it helped a lot LoueMT, right? Because it gave him the time to make a lot of stuff that is helping him in the game. He can make all those scouts and put all the deers here under the chapel, and this is very, very good. And all his villagers are very safe, and so the French cannot put pressure on him. And that's now the opposite that is happening. Now there is a little bit of light cavalry, and the light cavalry here can put a lot of pressure on the French player. And the French player doesn't have these professional scouts, and then yeah, he cannot have all those resources for free, because if there is a little bit of light cavalry that are coming on the map, then this cavalry can kill all the villagers here. So it's very difficult here for Starflark. The beginning of the game is not that cool for him, I feel like. And yeah, this is because of the dock. I think. I don't think it's that bad, but I think it's difficult to have a good timing with this dock. You are a little bit late because of that. And I feel like with French, what is very, very cool is to put pressure on the opponent very, very soon on the game. And if you don't do that, well, the opponent can do that kind of stuff. Take all the deers, take everything in the map, and yeah, defend very well. But the aggression of Starflark is very, very strong here. He destroyed two scouts. He has a lot of archers, a lot of cavalry, but here comes the H3 of LoueMT very, very soon. He has a good defense here with the outpost, and the cavalry puts pressure on the economy of Starflark. And that's what I was talking about. This cavalry is very, very, very cool, because, well, it's difficult to defend for Starflark because he is in a full aggression mode. Like he's making a lot of units to attack LoueMT and to put pressure on him. So he doesn't have like outposts or something. And this cavalry can put a lot of pressure. This is very, very cool. Ooh, very, very good aggression here. I really like the fact that he's putting all these archers inside the battering ram. What is very interesting with that is that they are protected from the tower, from the arrows of the tower. Very good charge from the knights here. And all these archers are taking down all the spearmen, and all the villagers are... Oh, this is a very good aggression, despite all I was saying before. Starflark is making a very, very good aggression here. Oh, maybe it's a little too far here. He's losing so much archers to the TC. He should just attack this gold and do not go that far, because here this is 14 villagers, so 15 arrows that goes on those units. And now he kills a little bit of villagers, but I feel like the price is too much. He lost too many units in order to do a little bit of damage to his opponent. Well, not a little bit of damage. He did a lot of damage. Of course, he killed one villager, but he also denied a lot of gathering from the villagers. So this is a pretty good attack. But now there is a lot of cavalry, and I feel like LoueMT can do... No, he cannot, because he doesn't have goal. So this is pretty cool. If Starflark continues to put pressure, this will be very difficult for LoueMT. LoueMT doesn't have any kind of prelate, so he cannot take the relics. But I really like what he's doing, LoueMT, and I really like to say that also, that the best defense is the attack. Here, LoueMT is under pressure, of course. This is very difficult, but the best thing that he can do is using his cavalry to kill villagers of his opponent, forcing him to fall back with all of those villagers, forcing him to defend with the units that are here. And so, five kills. This is very, very good for him. And yeah, it forces him to be elsewhere and not being very here. But Starflark is making a very good point here by attacking his opponent. Very good game. Very, very cool to see how the aggression goes back and forth. But here again, it is too far, I think. It is too far. He's losing all his army. All his army under the TC of his opponent. While he can just only avoid the fact that he's taking like resources. By losing all his army under the TC of LoueMT, then he cannot put enough pressure to avoid that, for example, to stop LoueMT to take again the control of the gold or of the chapel. And if Starflark didn't go under the TC, he could stay here and stop the villagers from doing that. This is very, very interesting to see. Very often, and I am the first to do that, I go too much under the TC. I want to finish the game, I want to destroy my enemy, and I lose too many of my units, and then the opponent can go back, can take a little bit of the control of the map, and then destroys me with his H3 units. And that's what is very important when you are H2 against an H3. You don't have to kill your enemy. You have to stop him from making economy, especially food. Here, LoueMT doesn't have any food, and the main issue for him is that. So, Starflark here has to kill or to avoid that the villagers of LoueMT go and reach some food. That's the main goal here. But I feel like he's losing too much under the TC, and try too much to take fights. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is a little bit, yeah, too much. He loses too much against his opponent. Oh no, this is not cool at all. He loses so much villagers, but I feel like he's doing a really great job against LoueMT. This is a very, very difficult opponent, right? This is a very, very good opponent, and he's killing a lot of villagers to his opponent. This is 9 to 10, but the villagers of the Order of the Dragon are more important. Why? Because they cost more, they gather more, and they also make more time to be constructed. So if you kill as much villagers as your opponent is killing your villager, this is very good against OOTD, because the villagers are more important for the OOTD. And also the French are building the villagers faster, so this is very good operation here for Starflark. But the main issue is that he's H2 and his opponent is H3. Sorry. So here, instead of making those rams, instead of putting pressure under the TC, etc., he should stop LoueMT from making some food. That's what I feel like. Of course, this is very difficult, and I'm not flaming here Starflark or anything. I'm not saying he's not good or anything. He's very strong, but I'm trying here to analyze the game, to help you getting better, and to understand what is the best in those situations. Of course, here we can see everything. We can see LoueMT, he has a lot of trouble with the food, etc. So I can tell everything, but here Starflark, of course, is only seeing this. So this is not as easy as when I'm casting the game, of course. But the goal here is to analyze and help you getting better in the game, and I try also to get better by analyzing those pro players, and this is very, very cool. And again, he's going too far, I think. This is too far. This is too much of his army. Like, this is 16 arrows that are going on those units, and yeah. But I understand the point of view of Starflark here. Okay, I can kill a lot of villagers. I'm going in. This is very good. I kill a lot of units. But here, the problem is that because if he loses all his army, what is he gonna do against those Gilded Knights? He cannot do anything against that, because this is a very, very, very strong unit. He cannot do anything against that, and that's where Starflark is losing this game right now. Because, yeah, he killed a lot of villagers, yeah, he put a lot of pressure, but LoueMT did the same with a few units, with a few gilded horsemen in the economy, and he defended really well by going H3 and make only very, very good units that Starflark cannot deal with right now, because he's H2 and he has only spearmen that are H2, and this is impossible to kill this unit with spearmen that are H2. So here the game is kind of over. Even if Starflark has way more villagers, he cannot go H3 right now. We can agree on that. And the Gilded Knights will be, yeah, they will be so annoying. They cannot be destroyed here by the army of Starflark, and they are gonna be more and more Gilded Knights, and this is gonna be horrible to deal with for Starflark. And the main issue also is that now the Rignit's Cathedral has 2 relics in it, and soon there will be 3, 4, and this is gonna be a lot of resources for LoueMT. LoueMT, who's using a scout to put the deer under the chapel, because he's lacking so much food right now. This is very, very difficult for him. Hopefully he has some very, very good units. I said that it was over for Starflark, but I'm not sure at 100%, because, yeah, because of the lack of food for LoueMT. This is very, very difficult for him right now to do some units. Very good wall here to protect the villagers. You have to finish the wall. You have to finish the wall, because here there is only 1 HP on this, and if the knight kill this, then all the villagers are down. But okay, there is the army that protects here. I feel like LoueMT did a very, very great job at attacking his opponent while he was so much under pressure. So he had to defend his base, but he kind of traded his base against the base of his opponent. He forced him to put a lot of walls, to put a lot of units in the defense, and he killed a lot of villagers thanks to his knights, right, and his horsemen. So this is what you should do on your game. Even if you're under pressure, you have to put pressure for your opponent, because even if you don't kill villagers, you force him to do some walls, to do some outposts, to do a lot of stuff to defend, and all these resources that have been spent, they are not under UTC, you know, yeah, they are not putting pressure on you, because this is static defenses, so it cannot go across the map and attack you. And also you force a lot of villagers, for example, to fall back under the TC and to go inside, and while they do that, they are not gathering resources, and if they're not gathering resources, of course, your opponent is building less army, and if there is less army, then you can defend easily. And that's the point of defending. When you're defending, you're not only defending with your units, but you're also with your outposts, etc. But you are also defending by attacking your opponents, and that's very, very important to understand. Okay, here are the prelates here that can heal all those units. The Gilded Knights are destroying everything. This is very, very strong unit, and here Starflark cannot do anything against that because this is too strong. Even the spearmen, but yeah, of course they are H2 spearmen, but they don't do any damage to them because they have 400 HP, and there is also the prelates that heal them. So yeah, this is kind of over. I feel like, because there is too much of the Gilded Knights. Even if Starflark is making only spearmen right now, well, of course, LoueMT can do only gilded man-at-arms, but yeah, even if there is full Gilded Knights against full spearmen, I feel like the Gilded Knights would win because they are H3 and the spearmen are H2, and because also of the prelates, of course. Does he have? Okay, he doesn't have this, and I feel like it is mandatory here because he's making a lot of prelates to heal his units. Why is he not making this and this? This is very, very strong, because you have +1 armor, you have 15% damage, and you also have the move speed. And here you can heal way more. This is... Ooh. Starflark is... Okay, he is winning this. I would never have thought... I'm sorry, I'm not sure how we say that. As you can see, I'm not an English person. I'm trying my best to do stuff in English. And I'm trying to improve, but this is difficult. What I was saying is that I didn't expect that to happen. I didn't expect that the army of Starflark could destroy the army of LoueMT. Especially because the army is H2 against an army that is H3. But yeah, the army of the Order of the Dragon also is very, very strong when you have to fight. Oh, the villagers, yeah. Okay, and again we are going under the DC. Why are we going under this DC again? This is, yeah, we lose so much units under the TC. And the TC is destroying especially the spearmen, because that's what is dealing with the Gilded Knights. And if there is no spearmen, then everything will fall down just after that. Very, very good operation for LoueMT, and very bad for Starflark here. He's putting a lot of pressure here, but he doesn't know what is happening right now here with the boar and also the berries. And if he attacked here, it could have been very, very difficult for LoueMT to defend that. So, yeah. And of course, I don't think he has this information. So again, this is easy for me to say that. But of course, this is very difficult for Starflark. What I feel like he should do with this, and I think this is very, very difficult at this point of the game, I very often lack of this too, is to have a scout. Often I don't have a scout at the point of the game because I lost it, and I don't do it again, and so I don't see that kind of stuff. The other thing that you can do if you don't have the scout is that you can put only, I don't know, like an archer, a knight, or a spearman on the different resources that are on the map. So for example, here on the deer you can put, I don't know, a spearman, here on the boar, here on the berries, etc. And then you can see exactly where your opponent is going to gather resources, and then you can attack this area. You can attack where your opponent is making some resources, and then you can deny that. This is very, very important, and the more I do that, the more I win my games. So this is very important to understand that, and this is a very good example of what can happen if you don't do that. Well, he has a lot of resources, and then he can produce a lot of very good units that are destroying his army. I feel like Starflark is not that far from winning this game, and LoueMT is very, very close to lose, but this is some small details that keeps him alive. Like, for example, those berries, this boar. For example, the fact that Starflark went under the TC so much time. And this is a different stuff here, because LoueMT has gilded knights and it tanks a lot these arrows. So this is not a problem for him to go under the TC. This is not the same problem. Okay, this is the H3 of the French. Maybe Starflark can do it. Maybe he can do it. Very interesting game to cast, very interesting game to analyze. And maybe you don't know me. I'm presenting a little bit myself. I'm Jando. I'm making content for AOE4 on my French YouTube channel. Don't hesitate if you're French to go and watch me. And I will do a lot of stuff in English too, some casted games and also some gameplay, some interviews, so much stuff. Don't hesitate to subscribe here if you want. I'm a Kong 2 player right now, and I'm trying to improve as much as I can, trying to reach the Kong 3, to reach also the tournaments, etc. Of course, I'm not looking to be a pro player, but I'm looking to improve in the game. I really like making content on AOE4, so don't hesitate if you're interested in watching all the stuff that I do. So yeah, H3 very good for Starflark, but there is so much gilded knights. What you can understand about that is that you can see 17 of them, but it's as if there was 34, because the cost of this unit is doubled. So yeah, how you deal with 34 knights? This is very difficult, right? Especially with H2 units. You have the veteran here for the knights, but yeah, this is not enough. Some crossbowmen also. Arbalétrier in French, if you want to know. Yeah, sorry, I can put the French accent on if you want. Very interesting game, very, very cool to see and watch. Don't hesitate to tell me what you think about this game. Don't hesitate to tell me if the cast was good, if you enjoyed it, and if you want more. I'll be glad to answer all your questions. Very, very cool. And don't hesitate to like, subscribe, etc. And yeah, we will see very soon for another casted game on AOE4.